jump into it. I am so pumped for this matchup, Andrew.
Oh, me too, man. This is one of the ones where you kind of just want to sit back and watch, but don't worry, guys. Don't worry.
have to commentate this?
Yeah, exactly.
Come on. Heal Spirit for Jupiter. And so far, quick cycle. Just a couple cycle cards from both players.
Yeah, so, Skellies we see a lot with Royal Giant. We see it a lot with, that double bait deck. JupiterKing, Heal Spirit. Heal Spirit's coupled a lot with Royal Hogs. Things like Ram Rider.
Musketeer down behind the Knight for the God RF.
And Royal Giant. I was like, I'm missing one of the biggest win conditions right now. Oh, wow. Gonna go Graveyard early and aggressive.
Oh, GY Musk, so, known for Splash Yard. Still a great Graveyard player all the way around. Decides to go for GY here with the Skelly Dragons.
Yeah, and these Skelly Dragons should do really actually great cleanup coupled with those skeletons on the top side of the map here. Musketeer Skelly Dragons will probably even things out.
And a slight Elixir lead, about 2 ahead is the God RF as the first minute and 15 passes.
Yeah, 2 Elixir ahead and a few hundred damage. So the God RF rocking Graveyard in game number 1, maybe calling JupiterKing's bluff. As you can see so far, we don't see, a great way of cleaning up skeletons. The Heal Spirit will help, the Log will help, the Lumberjack will help, but, it's nothing like something like a Poison or a Valkyrie or a bigger splash unit.
Is this the same Loon Cycle deck that we saw Igor run 3 times in a row yesterday?
Could be.
We see, there we go. There's the Lumberjack and the Balloon to the right-hand side.
So Lumberjack going to go right onto that Barb Hut, going to help take it down a little bit, but the Balloon cruising through with the help of that Heal Spirit.
Wow, gets a nice connection, although between the Barbs and a lot on the board. Oh, what a beautiful Ice Golem to deal with all of that going the opposite direction. Very, very well played from Jupiter.
Yeah, yesterday I said that maybe we saw one of the best Ice Golem kites ever. That was a beautiful, beautiful plus a dozen trade right there with that Ice Golem.
Lumberloon left-hand side this time. Balloon will sneak past that Barbarian Hut, and a late delivery means Balloon connects. Will it get a second drop? It does not, but still damage done. Big connections before we get into sudden death on both sides for Jupiter.
And RF needs to start thinking about how he's playing the defense against those Lumberloon pushes. The problem is that he's getting high, and he's high and early on his Knight because he needs to catch the Lumberjack, but the problem is that allows JupiterKing to drop that Heal Spirit early with success 100% of the time.
Big potential counter push coming in here. Musketeer is being tanked for by those Barbarians. Opponent's Musketeer for JupiterKing now in the poison. And we'll see if the God RF can set up pretty nicely, Andrew. Yeah,
1700 bottom left, 1156 top left here. God RF, 2 Barb Huts on the board, but not getting to the tower as much as he'd like.
And Jupiter really can't cycle on that right-hand side at the moment. And there we go. He does get the Ice Golem and Balloon down. Could not throw the Lumberjack that direction. He did the DPS on the left-hand side. And this time the delivery is played correctly. Balloon will not connect.
Yeah, a lot of Elixir demanded out of that right-hand lane. Still gets the death damage, and that death damage is going to continue to add up. Now, whether the bomb drops on the left or the right-hand side, that will be the damage, or the tower that takes the damage lead.
But look what's coming across the left-hand side here, Andrew.
3 Elixir.
Knight, 2 Musketeers, Graveyard. There's no way to defend this. JupiterKing gonna take the L here. The God RF with the comeback. Great win here for Space Station Games.
The God RF up 1 against JupiterKing, and to continue on that thought, when I did a coaching session with the God RF, that was one of the biggest things I noticed about his play. Because he's such a great Graveyard player, he is one of the most patient people you will ever watch play the game, because he goes, I only need 1. I only need 1 good Graveyard, and it can come with 20 seconds left in the game.
Cheeky little NATO there from JupiterKing. RF pushes that back with the Log to keep the damage off tower. Well, we're seeing Ice Wizard, NATO, and Knight from Jupiter. Are we seeing the Ice Rocket here?
Yeah, I mean, Ice Rocket maybe being in defense to another Graveyard deck, thinking that RF might run it back, but, definitely not going to be the case here, and Wallbreaker's going to be coming down the right-hand lane.
And there you go. By the way, those of you who call it Ice Bow, that's the old name for this deck.
Right.
That's the outdated name for this deck. This deck is Ice Rocket. X-Bow is almost secondary at this stage. This deck is going to just hold you down, make it tough, and then when it gets into triple elixir, throw a bunch of rockets at your head and tell you, can you dodge these? I bet not.
Yeah, and speaking of tough, it's going to be one of those things for RF to get those Expos off the board if they start getting stacked up defensively. So we'll see how he wants to respond to that. We'll see if Jupiter starts playing those when we get close to double elixir time. I mean, if Jupiter can, he's going to try to build a city on his side of the map with some Teslas and, of course, those Expos.
Interesting seeing Tribe Gaming go to Expo twice today. We've seen that once from TNT with that 2.9 variation, and then now JupiterKing going with this version.
And this is what I'm talking about, 10 seconds coming in, Tesla on the board to help defend. You kind of min-max your defense so that you're at 10 when double elixir hits.
And here we go, double elixir time, and let's see what JupiterKing does now as it starts to flow a bit more.
Here we go, the first defensive Expo is down, and RF does have a poison in response.
Miner goes to the outside, and that's going to distract for the wall breaker. It will connect on that Expo. Brilliant sequence from the God RF to get some damage and take care of that defensive Expo.
I could not agree more, and just to add a little cherry on top, the Bat gets 3 big-time bites in to give RF a substantial lead here, but it only takes 1 Expo lock, but losing a Tesla like that is not going to be the way to do it.
Oh boy. This is a dangerous situation here for RF. I mean, he knows the timing, has to make sure he's always cycled, and a big log NATO's all that back. Expo barely gets any shots. What a crazy fight this is, Andrew.
Yeah, but if you look at the elixir on the board, JupiterKing in a massive lead, so he's going to get a defensive Expo down now. RF maybe has to respond with the poison. No, he goes minor poison aggressive, so this is going to be the moment if Jupiter wants to take the game. This next Expo that comes down is when he does it.
And now Jupiter is starting that rocket cycle, so 1629, although he is under 1,000 HP on the left-hand side, sets up defensive Tesla. Poison for the skeletons, RF putting a lot of damage on there.
I love it. I love what RF is doing. He recognizes the race that he's in right now. He knows that if he stays hyper aggro, those offensive Expos are going to be harder and harder to get down on the board. And when they are on the board, he has been managing them very well. So this time, a miner has to go in with the poison.
And the Spear Goblins do pick up, and again, just a couple of shots from the Expo. But it just takes a few rockets to steal this one back for JupiterKing with that rocket log cycle. And there you go, look at the wall breakers, forcing the NATO out. Beautiful prediction play by RF, had that Expo on the right-hand side timed out perfectly.
Yeah, I know that's not going to look pretty in the replays, but we'll make it sound pretty. We got to pull that because that is a beautiful predictive wall breaker play. And just like that, miner to the back, poison on tower, Spear Goblins in, and RF is going to be the first person to take a set off JupiterKing in 2020.